going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new and exciting episode of the Viall Files Bachelor Recap Edition. And boy, do we have a lot to cover. Returning guest Jefferies is with us. We are super excited. He's feeling better.
I am
and ready to. There's so much to recap, and we are glad that you're here to break this all down. Before we get into the episode, just a couple housekeeping things. So next week we got a 2-night finale, as you guys now are made aware of. Because it's supposed to be monumental. We are going to recap each episode individually. So we're going to have our Ask Nicks on Monday, and then somewhere in the middle of the night or early Tuesday morning, we're going to the recap for Monday night's Bachelor finale, which I will be making a guest appearance on AFR and some of other alumni as well, I think, because apparently it's nuts. Christina Harris, big Bachelor fan, will be with us on Monday to break down Monday night's episode of The Bachelor. On Tuesday, the finale, we are having the wonderful, the amazing Allie Barthwell. You know her, you love her. She's going to be in LA, and she's going to come and watch it with us. So she'll be in studio, not remote. I couldn't think of a better person to break down this mess of a finale. Everyone loves Allie, so we are happy to have Allie for the finale. And the fourth episode, I have been promised by the show, we are going to get, I guess, the runner-up. Because it sounds like it's going to be kind of a mess. I don't know if we're going to, what does it mean to be a runner-up this season? I don't know. Because, if Clayton, is he with someone? Is he not? What does that mean? But I've been told that we'll get possibly the angriest of the women. So there might be a lot of angry women. I've been told that we'll get the angriest. It's either going to be Gabby, Rachel, or Susie, and they will be coming directly from AFR to the hot seat, so to speak, and we will be, talking to them. And that will come out also first thing Wednesday morning. So 4 episodes, lots to cover, but we think it's worthwhile, and I think you guys do as well. Tomorrow we have an amazing episode for you. The wonderful Ashley Green. You know her from the Twilight Empire. She is with us to talk all things. Get her thoughts on the new Batman movie. Her former co-star, Robert Pattinson. She has a new podcast coming out. What's going on? We're going to get into a little euphoria. Also, we have an amazing mediation call with Nick and Danielle from Love is Blind 2. Are you watching Love is Blind 2 at all?
I don't watch that one. I'm just a Bachelor person.
Give it a shot.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. I don't want to force it, but
has any of the relationships from Love is Blind worked out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's one from season 1.
Yeah.
That people apparently really, really respond to.
And there's a couple who just got married that we're going to talk to.
Are you allowed to ask what each other looks like? You're not allowed to ask anything like that?
No,
you look like a dick if you do.
Yeah,
and one man did.
Yeah.
And he looked terrible. He was like, I love buying people clothing. What size are you?
Yeah. Didn't work out for him.
Love is Blind?
Yeah. What size are your feet? Are they massive type of...
He asked her if he's like, could I put you on my shoulders at a concert? And would it be easy?
And she said?
It did. I don't know what she said. At first, it was like, is that a fair question or not? But he just ended up being a real ass. He is a real dick.
I feel like it is blatantly not a fair question.
Yeah, but I feel like, okay, it's all right. You people will have nice speaking voices. I got this nasally Australian thing going on. I don't know if I would be able to get anyone in Love is Blind.
People love an Australian Jim in America.
Not this voice, though. I don't know.
I think you'd be all right.
I'm hardly Morgan Freeman.
Tune in tomorrow for our Going Deeper episode with Ashley Green, Nick, and Danielle from Love is Blind. We'll be talking about all that fun stuff. You won't want to miss it. All right. We have a lot to cover. Do we have any Bachelor
we have a little something that I would like your opinion on. One Miss Tammy, you know her, you love her, recently on Paradise, posted on her Instagram, and she had some very choice thoughts about the Bachelor franchise. She said her contract was up in April, so I don't think she can say everything she wants to say, but she clearly was not happy in any way.
I think it's annoying when people they use 2 arguments to make the real point, which is she seems to be mad about not getting attention from producers in the show that she thinks she deserves. I mean, she mentioned lack of diversity on the show. I mean, listen, we know that the show has a bad history when it comes to diversity, that they've drastically improved in the past couple of years, and I hope they continue to work on it, and I hope they continue to platform and give representation to all different types of love stories.
Wait a minute, a contract? I thought you just did a season and a season.
Oh, you're like under contract for a year where they basically tell you what you can and can't do media-wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But as far as Tammy goes, like, she's, it's a tale is all the time with Bachelor Nation. I hear it all the time. And there's always a group of cast members who always will say something to the effect of, producers only give you attention when they want something from you. And you know what? That's totally true. That's 100% true. It also goes both ways. The fakeness of friendships goes both ways between producers and cast and producers. Cast, and I would argue more from cast to producers. They're always reaching out to producers, asking for favors, how to get on Paradise and things like that. And I would be willing to bet most of the cast have no idea what producers' last names are or their birthdays or what their family situation is or what's going on. And that's fine too, but don't pretend like they're desperately trying to be their friends. Like, it's a show. It's a TV show. Producers look at cast as, cast, potential cast. And if you're not a star of their show, then you will get less attention. Like this past week, a bunch of stars from the show got asked to do Family Feud. So, Nate, Michelle, Rodney, Thomas, Becca Kufrin, Joe, Serena P, they're stars.
That's like the all-star cast.
Yeah, that's their current.
Yeah. Who did they play? My friend Reese Darby and his family just were on.
Oh, really? I think it was Bachelor versus Bachelor. Sometimes they've mixed it up, and I would be willing to bet if Tammy got a call saying, "Do you want to be on Celebrity Family Feud?" she wouldn't have complained about any of this. And it's like, she's been on 2 seasons. She's got plenty of airtime. Like, I don't get why some people on the show think they're somehow. Like, you went on a reality TV show and you've been on twice. Your time is probably run its course. They might ask you back, but you're not one of their stars. Like, not everyone gets to be, and that's I don't like.
Nick's like, talk to me when you've done 4.
that doesn't. No, it's just like, just move on and or not. But like, no one cares that your contract's up and whatever.
I don't even know which one she is.
Exactly.
Tammy. I'm trying to remember which one Tammy. Oh, Tammy.
Pull up a Tammy.
She's not on this season.
She was on Bachelor in Paradise.
She was in a love triangle with Thomas and Aaron for a minute. She goes and she goes to all the events, and also she won't be done. You'll see her at other events.
I do think, though, to be fair, like of the Bachelor, because I think Bachelor is trying to get a lot less white, and I think like AAPI representation is some of like the thinnest on the show.
I hope the show continues to explore diversity in all ways, and so. But I don't think that's why Tammy complained that the producers don't call her and ask her to do more things or do one of their podcasts or do Celebrity Family Feud or whatever it is she's upset about. Yeah, there's nothing. I think that was a disingenuous comment to bring up when she was more focused on not getting a call from the bat phone, so to speak. Sure. Well, we have Genevieve calling in shortly, so let's dive in to the tell-all a little bit before Genevieve calls in. I mean, it's a typical tell-all. I thought it was more toxic than usual.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of yelling.
I mean, again, this is not about me. Like, the Shanae is Shanae. We whether she she certainly didn't. She wasn't contrite, but it didn't seem like to me like she had much of an opportunity to talk.
Well, what opportunity did she need? They kept on asking him the questions. Did you lie about this thing? No, I never lied to him. And then that's all that she really needs to say. And then they did the whole broke ass Meryl Streep stuff on her.
Yeah.
And I think she got what she deserved, but the problem was because they all did it. It could have been happened in a couple of sentences, but because they all did it at once, then they started to look like the mean girls, which is really playing into Sinead's hands as playing the victim all the bloody time.
I don't have a difference of opinion with Shanae. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't come out and change my mind, which is maybe she was kind of problematic. It's just more, they just stooped to her level. So now you're just the same. They constantly called her a bitch the whole episode.
They called her a hypocrite.
Genevieve asked if she was wearing a diaper. So they're mocking her outfit. One girl asked if she was like locked in a room as a child. They told her she would never find love. They like
they're
they
right
heckled her.
though. They're right though. she was pretty evil. I don't know if there's been a bigger villain on The Bachelor. Like I understand what happened to the girls. The girls were so pent up with like if I don't say it now, I'll never say it, and it all just came flooding out at once. And she's not a good egg, that one. I don't know. You seem to be defending her. She's not a good egg.
I've been on the show, so I know how it works.
Right.
I've asked around, is she like an egg, so to speak?
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, she's a totally fine, nice person. Also, these women were all gassed up. And when they start, this is how Tell All works.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Serene and Teddy weren't part of that drama.
Right.
It was all a bunch of women you barely remember from earlier in the season, and then like kind of that middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, hey, listen, Paradise is around the corner, and well, like let's be honest, like you weren't on it the whole time, so if you let's see what she got. And they decided to, and it wasn't about like getting back; it was about airtime. And
it reminded me of like the presidential primary debates when like everybody has their hat in the ring and like everybody's trying to like make their moment happen, and because it took on a more negative tone, it was like kind of one-upping each other.
Sierra, who had a lot to say about everything, and she was a real middle of the packer.
Yeah. It's that middle of the pack. I honestly thought the only real winner of because Teddy was net neutral. We liked her before. Serene was net neutral. We liked her before. It was
Marlena.
Marlena was to me the winner. Where at the end of the episode, she's like, "Listen, who are we? Like, I can't decide if you're a narcissist or not. Like, she gave some kind of like, I don't know, like it's a crazy world." And I was like, you know what? That's a bigger person.
I've dated toxic people.
Yeah.
They're very manipulative, the toxic people, and they make you think that, oh, no, maybe I'm doing something wrong and everyone else is lying to me, and they play their game, and man, that's what she was doing to... Like you got to give him credit. He did get rid of her, maybe not as quickly as they all wanted him to, but he did eventually go, all right, well, you have to go. And so I thought that was the nicest comment at the very end when she said that.
Yeah, I thought it was the nicest comment. To me, it's not about defending Shanae. It's about, I don't get how, if you want to be just as bad, you get to be just as bad. If you don't get to take this high road and just be like, you have terrible character, you're a toxic person, and then just be toxic to prove your point. Like,
yeah, but what do you get taught in school? If a bully punches you punch him back, right? That's what I know. In hindsight, watching it, maybe it wasn't the right choice. But in the moment, if that girl screwed you over on the show, said that you were fake and you were, I can't remember who was the blonde girl that
Elizabeth.
that she was just lying about. Said, she wouldn't talk to me, and she said all the things, and she was. If I was that girl, I'd want to have my shot.
Yeah.
Back at her.
Elizabeth did lie.
About being in the hot tub?
She was in the hot tub.
But okay, but
Shanae
Elizabeth lied when we're not going to talk about Shanae's lies were egregious. Elizabeth's lies are potentially explained by.
I'm just like maybe
just forgetting.
Maybe I am forgetting, but I'm just wondering. Someone explain to me what were her outrageous lies. I did some background checking. All I've heard is Shanae is not like this. She's not going to win a Nobel Prize. Like she's not. You know what I'm saying? So like. She's not like this Machiavellian strategic person. She was kind of like immature and she was ignorant. Remind me. Maybe I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I don't know. You got the hots for Shanae, man.
No, not at all.
Because I thought she was maybe the biggest villain we've ever had.
She was.
She would lie, and then she would do that stupid thing afterwards when they did this to screen. She goes, "That's one bitch gone. Come and get me." Like that. I've got another one gone. She would just lie about it. And then she's like, "This person said that I was fake," and then blah, 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 blah. And she's just an actress and all that type of stuff. No, I'd be pissed with her as well. If only for her getting up and doing the fucking whippy dance or whatever the fuck it was.
Shanae.
Yeah, fuck that.
It was terrible. I'm just saying, like, I don't get how that makes it okay. Like, yes, it's at high school. Yes, was that what you do in high school? So if you want to say, if these girls want to say, yes, I'm just as immature, and I just don't get how I don't get how one person can be the bully when it's a group. To me, that was bullying.
I agree that it was a really bad look to have all those like women speaking in that way to Shanae in that setting. But I do think they tried. I think part of it was this pent up frustration of like, I've tried to reason with you and I cannot get through to you. Like Elizabeth tried every single possible way to explain to her like a very basic social dynamic.
Should just calmly say, hey, listen.
Yeah, but people get frustrated.
No, they did that on the show. They tried to be calm on the show. They accepted her apology on the show and even tried to be nice to her. And then you got to understand that what they did now is after they saw the episode. They disliked her and thought that she was a lying bitch on the actual show, right? And then they watched the show and it was proved to them. And then they were all pent up and like, oh, I'm going to get her, right? Yeah. I get it. They could have handled it a lot better, but I totally get where everyone's coming from.
The house is always the bully on that show. It just is. The house is the bully. And does that excuse behavior? Like I say this every time we talk about Shanae. No, she was not a good person this season. And she didn't prove to be any better in the tell-all. I just don't get how, like, if you're going to talk about someone's character, like, if you want to say you sucked and suck you back, but if you're talking about someone's character and character's about like taking the high road or looking the other way or rising above, I'm just saying like you don't get to think of you're somehow of some higher moral character than the person who, talks some shit about you. I don't know.
Speaking of talking shit, Genevieve is here.
Genevieve's on. All right. Let's hear it from Genevieve herself.
Knowledge is power. The more information you have, the less time you have to like insert crazy neurotic thoughts. And we're talking about your overall wellness. We're talking about Everlywell. That's right. Everlywell is the amazing at-home lab tests. I mean, they can test for what seems like virtually anything. Food sensitivity, metabolism, sleep and stress, thyroid problems. They have colon screenings. Am I reading that right? That's amazing. STD tests. There's so much you can test, and you can do it, again, from the comfort of your home. You don't have to worry about going into a doctor's office and waiting longer than you need to. Everlywell at-home lab tests give you physician-reviewed results and personalized insights so you can take action on your health and wellness, all at an affordable and transparent cost. With over 30 tests, you'll be able to choose the one that makes the most sense for you. Everlywell ships your at-home lab test straight to you with everything needed for a simple sample collection. Using the prepaid shipping label, mail your tests back to a certified lab. In just days, your physician-reviewed results and actionable insights are sent to your device. So convenient, and honestly, it's just less stressful. And our listeners, for the show, Everlywell is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/VIALL. I know there are people listening being like, I should have tested for something. I need to find out. I've been putting it off. I know who you are. Well, you know who you are, more importantly. I don't know who
and
you
Nick
are.
knows too.
I know. And like, don't make me call, and it's going to get weird. So just Everlywell. That's everlywell.com/VIALL for 20% off your at-home lab test. everlywell.com/VIALL. Woo, get your skin looking fresh and right.
Get it.
How's my skin looking?
Better than mine.
Ooh, I've been moisturizing. That's right. Curology is game-changing customer skincare made for you by a dermatology provider. They'll create a custom prescription cream for your specific goals, whether that's tackling acne, clogged pores, skin texture, dark spots, fine lines, or something else. You start by taking a short online quiz and upload photos, and if it's a good fit, they'll ship you your formula right to your door, even with your name on the bottle. I took that quiz. I was my face was a little dehydrated living in LA. It's dry out here, and so they gave me some stuff that would help with my dehydrated face. And I like to think that it's done wonders. I've really enjoyed it, and the best part is it's custom for you because everyone's different. Mr. Rogers told us so, and that man is not a liar. Get started with Curology like I did with a free 30-day trial at Curology.com/VIALL. Just pay $5 for shipping and handling. That is CUROLOGY.com/VIALL to start your free 30-day trial. Cancel anytime. Prescription subject to consultation.
How's it going, Genevieve?
Hi, how are you?
We're great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
All right. So we're currently talking about Tell All before you called in. I guess mixed opinions on the performance. Have you seen it yet?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I have not seen it.
What is
Good luck with that.
what is your perception of how you and some of your peers acted on the show towards Shanae? On the Tell All, not the show. Yeah. Specifically Tell All.
I know that we all definitely had something to say.
Yeah.
I for sure said everything that I wanted to say. It was a very long night. I do not remember all the little commentary. I'm not sure about that, but I got to go in the hot seat with Shanae, and we were she kind of pulled something up. I'm not sure if it's shown, but
that you
about me and
having sex with
Aaron Clancy. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was just ridiculous. Just to say that's not true, everybody. And after that, I was like, she hasn't changed. She's not here to try and get any redemption or apologize. So, yeah.
Even if you did have sex with Aaron, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You're single.
We don't.
I mean, yeah.
It's no one's business but yours.
Sure. I mean, I honestly, just to be honest, I thought you guys were really mean.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone
was
like your comment about Shanae wearing diapers as she walked up to the hot seat before you walked up there.
Yeah, that's the only misstep
Honestly.
I think you made. I don't think you were mean at all. I'm not like Nick at
Yeah,
all. I think Shanae had it coming to her.
No, everyone was very honest, and that's the thing. I don't think anyone said anything that wasn't true. And if everyone kind of saw just what we saw, I don't know. I think she had it coming for her, honestly.
I'm just having a hard time understanding how everyone can heckle. I don't think Shanae was great at all. I mean, she has a lot of things to be accounted for. I just have a hard time understanding because so many of the conversations were about Shanae's character. And I'm just having a hard time understanding how the things that were all said to Shanae, and when she goes up there and you guys are heckling her and calling her a bitch and saying fuck you and mocking her dress, I'm just having a hard time understand how it's any different. Maybe it's the same. I just don't understand how it's better. So in my opinion, it's just okay, I guess you guys are all in the same field. And I understand the frustration of being mad at Shanae. I get that, but it's just more why not take the high road is my question.
Because we tried so many times, honestly. We tried so many times to be nice to her. I multiple times had conversations with her off camera or that wasn't shown, and we were fine. Everyone, most people try to give her the benefit of the doubt, and it's we just did that so many times, and now it's just not even worth it anymore. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember saying "fuck you," but I do.
I don't know
remember
if you did. It was who was
about
it?
her dress. I commented about her dress
it was
because
Lindsay.
did. I'm sorry, it looked like a black diaper under her dress. And I didn't know that was gonna. I don't know. It was just my commentary, and yeah, I don't regret anything.
Okay.
And I honestly think she had it coming for her. She was very fake to all of us. She would lie. She would act fake to us, go to Clayton and say that we were being bullies when we were being very nice to her. So she's just full of lies, and I don't feel bad about anything.
Okay, fair enough.
Nick, it's every movie you see there's someone bullied, and then at the end of the film, the town people beat the bully and kick him out, and we all rejoice. Except for you, where you think that the bloody bully should stay there running the bloody place.
I think bloody is a loose term used in Bachelor Nation. In my experience, the house is usually the bully. It's just how I don't know. In my experience.
Shanae was a special level of evil, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, she was definitely shitty.
No one in the house was a bully. Honestly, we were so nice to her in the beginning until she flipped
the house
that
in
switch.
general. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we talk about the fact, I mean, obviously, Shanae brought up you and Aaron, but then you said that, quote, I know you've been DMing him. He sent me screenshots. He thinks you're crazy.
How did Shanae find out you guys haven't even met?
So I think maybe 3 months ago or something, I was out at a bar and I saw Aaron and I posted something with him.
You just posted a picture with him and then she took
it was a picture at a bar. And that's the only thing that I could think of, because that's the only time I've ever seen him. So I'm assuming that's what she was talking about and where she got it. But she had no evidence.
Even if you did, knowing you're
even if I did, that's not, it just doesn't make sense. It's not something to throw at me. Like, I was off the show. Clayton is potentially engaged. And so I think I have the right to do what I want.
That is true. Were you guys hoping for Shanae to, like, what were your expectations of Shanae when she came on Tell All? Like, what were you guys hoping for?
I had some hope that maybe we could all, come to some agreement, I guess, and just all be okay, because all of us girls have a very good relationship, and it is sad to see that Shanae is not in that, but we know that she did that. So I really was going in hoping that maybe I wasn't looking for an apology directly to me, but maybe just an apology to everyone for the manipulation or whatever you want to call it. And it was just like the complete opposite. So I think that's why everyone was just like, really, this is not. She had, and I know Cassie was like kind of her friend in the house. And she said, I was hoping that you would kind of use this time, but you're not giving me anything and I can't really have your back in this situation.
I think if Shanae came on and she just said, I've watched the show back and I regret even just some of the things I said, she didn't regret anything. And so, but it sort of fell into her lap because she came on, basically said, I don't regret nothing. And then the girls all attacked her, and now she gets to play the victim again.
I don't think she gets to play the victim.
Oh, she is right now. We're saying poor Shanae. They all picked on
her. Maybe I'm not articulating my words correctly. I'm not defending Shanae or protecting her. I think she didn't do anything to redeem herself. I don't understand the two wrongs make a right argument. I thought.
What, they all just sat there and said nothing?
I would have maybe.
Yeah,
more,
that's the thing. I'm not.
I would have
none of
more
us were
calmly
about to say nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have said what they said. It's just my opinion.
In the moment, it's very hard.
It's very hard to respond to something emotionally heightened in a calm and collected way, especially when that emotionally heightened thing.
It is hard, but that's what we refer to as people who. Marlena did it. I'm just saying.
I've lost my shit on TV in the moment. I've done it. I told Piers Morgan to fuck off. I lost my shit. I lost it.
We all have a right to do. I'm just saying, I just don't get the two wrongs make it right. That's all I'm saying. I don't think anyone. I'm very careful to, I don't know if you watched Katie's season, Genevieve.
I do not.
But there was a gentleman named Thomas. I don't know. Do you remember Thomas?
I remember Thomas. I met Thomas. He came to one of my shows.
So, he's a nice guy.
He's all right.
Those guys called him a narcissist, and they had some. And I don't know anything about Shanae.
But Thomas was no Shanae.
I know he wasn't.
Thomas was just better looking than everybody, and just a little tiny. And he said he wanted to be the Bachelor.
Sure.
Which of course everyone. Jenna, did you want to be the Bachelorette, or was that never on your radar?
Honestly, I wouldn't be able to do that. It was too much for me. I think potentially Paradise is something I could do, but
I don't think you'd enjoy being the Bachelor either, because I saw you in the therapy session, all that type of stuff. You're like me, because how could you do every episode and just do this whole, I believe a woman's heart needs to be protected, and I put my barriers up. Everyone's talking about their fucking barriers and when they go down and how they never open up to people and how they're shy and they're on fucking TV, right? No, you couldn't have had that conversation a million times. I don't think it's for you either.
It's a tough thing to do. About the therapy, I wanted to ask you, because on the tell-all, you were very outspoken. You were outspoken earlier in the season, and then on therapy, were you just done with it? You became very quiet. You seemed like you couldn't find the words. And what was your thought process there? Did you think it was fake therapy, or what was your in your head that kind of made it look like you, at least from our eyes, you just kind of shut down?
So honestly, going into that date, I was kind of. I knew it was my time to go. And I don't know if this can be shown, I'm sorry, but I was planning to talk to Clayton at night at the group date and tell him I just wasn't ready to go to hometown.
Okay, so you were going to...
And so when the therapy came up, I'm like, well, there's no way of getting past this without having the conversation that I wanted to have. So I kind of knew it was coming, and I had no previous time to kind of dive deep with my feelings with Clayton. So I wasn't about to just let everything out, like
during therapy,
knowing that I was going home.
Yeah, that makes
so.
A
I
lot
just
of sense.
I stayed silent.
Who
I didn't know what to say.
Who wants to have bloody therapy on TV anyway?
No.
That's the problem. You've got two types of dates. You've got the single date where you get to do something fun and go buy clothes or get massage or eat sushi up each other's body. Or you got a group date where you'll be punching each other or you'll have to talk about some uncle who did something bad to you or something. You know what I mean? There's some therapy thing that's very upsetting that you'll have to emotionally do something or you'll get physically hurt. Group dates, you're getting hurt. That's the only way around it.
100%.
That's true.
Even watching this last episode, they're just like, oh, what did you do on a date? Oh, we went down into a cave in the bottom of the earth. What did you have to do? I had to ride a doom buggy where I wore a helmet after making my hair really nice and try to look pretty and have to wear a helmet and roll around in the mud and say it was fun. Just get to the bloody bedroom and have sex. That's what we're all trying to do.
We're going to see you in paradise? Or, like, if you get asked, you'll go?
I think there's a good chance, yes.
Oh,
If I get asked.
like, so you live in Hollywood, correct? You from?
I live in LA.
You're from Boston. You live in LA. And Shanae called you an actress. Are you an aspiring actress, or is that just not a thing?
That's honestly not a thing. I've done modeling, but I've never ever done acting in any sense. So, and yeah, I have no plans to.
I've never done it well myself.
It would also be, it's okay if you ever did too. It's,
And no, go ahead, research, and there's nothing I've ever acted in. So.
Well, no, we didn't say you were a successful actress. You haven't got an IMDb page yet. You might just be hopeless.
Genevieve, thank you so much for coming. We enjoyed watching you this season, and I think
you and me fave, Genevieve.
Yeah.
You and me number one in the show.
Yeah.
I wanted you to win. I was hoping you were a bachelorette. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Yeah. So Jim
Thank you.
definitely hopes to see you in paradise, and we all do as well. So best of luck.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
I do a thing with my wife and my kid, and what we do is, I told you this last podcast, what we do is we bet on all the different people, and you only place your bets once they get out of the limo. Genevieve was my horse right away. That was the one I put all the money on. I shouldn't, Now you bloody lost me some cash there, Genevieve.
Yeah, sorry.
Not a lot. We're doing like 20 cents. I'm doing it with a 9-year-old. It's probably not the show for it. I just fast forward through the fantasy suites. My son watches a whole series in about 10 minutes, just the bits he can watch.
Wait, was I supposed to hang up when I said bye?
Yeah, that's how it works. Is this your first time with a phone?
Okay. All right. Nice to meet you.
Bye, Genevieve.
Thank you. Bye.
She's still your favorite.
I meant to hang up when I said bye.
Whatever.
I get where she's coming from, though.
Maybe I'm taking crazy pills, and I'm sure most people will agree with Jim.
I think what it is like your experience in Bachelor was one of like being ostracized from the main group. And so, of course,
it's not even just about like me projecting about my experience.
I'm not saying you're projecting, though, but I think like you've seen through most people who have been on the outside are villains who kind of get like exiled from Bachelor Nation.
When I say like the house is the bully, I don't like, and Genevieve was quick to be like, none of us bullied her. When I say the house, like
it's
like
a
the
group
collective mentality.
It's a group mentality. It's a mob mentality. And I don't see how, and again, she hasn't watched yet, and we don't know how Twitter's going to react, but I just don't get how someone can say, like, whatever Shanae did, how if you want to stoop to their level, then stoop to their level.
Well, it's like the question is
now
like,
you're on their level.
Do you want to fight fire with fire or just get burned by someone else's fire?
Yeah.
But what did they... Shanae was annoying. Shanae was probably annoying to be around.
Lied to their faces constantly and then
she
mocked
lied.
them about it.
Okay. And yes, and she did... Yes.
Look, I've seen other villains on the show. Who was that blonde girl who got kicked off in the double date with the twins, right? There's many seasons.
Olivia, yeah.
Olivia.
And they have come to apologize.
And I believe that Olivia was hardly done by. I don't believe she did much wrong, and they all really went after her.
Yeah.
And she was made into a villain, and she had to get off social media and go to therapy. And I feel like she was edited very badly. Shanae, I don't think so.
Well, I am telling, as someone who has talked to people, is that like, well, Shanae did some shit. Yes, there is editing, and there definitely is editing, and she has stuff to be apologized. Like, this is not.
If she apologized just a little bit, I would have just gone, all right.
She did not redeem herself. It has my comments have nothing to do with Shanae's behavior. It is, and maybe I stand alone in a world where it's just apparently it's like if someone does
I'll
something
ask
to
you this
you,
question. If you dated Shanae, would you trust her?
I wouldn't date Shanae.
Not yeah, but like I'm saying in a fantasy world where all your dreams come true. If you got to like you couldn't, boy. But no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so if you dated Shanae, would you trust her? Not like for infidelity reasons, just like that she wouldn't be a bit conniving and a bit wouldn't cause you grief in your life.
But I don't find her personality remotely attractive.
I know, but yeah, okay, you're not getting the game. You're just but
Ignore
okay,
all of that.
If anybody was dating her, should they trust that she's not going to?
Say your buddy was dating her.
She's a shit stirrer.
She looks
That's
like
what
she has
she
a
is.
red
She's a
flag.
shit stirrer.
Yeah.
She's the type of person that you leave a party and you're in the car and you go, I wasn't talking to that girl. What? That person wasn't being mean to you. What are you talking about? That person was being mean to you. The person was just joking around with you. And then you got to talk about it forever. And then you can't talk to your friend Gavin anymore because he ate all the fucking shrimp. Right? It's just she's one of them. I've dated them.
Yeah.
Pain in the neck.
I'm doing a terrible job of articulating my point because
I think what you're saying is Shanae didn't make herself look any better.
Yeah.
But the group made themselves look worse.
Yes, correct. That's
all I'm
correct.
saying.
That's what Nick is saying.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
all
yes.
I'm saying.
Okay.
They just and I don't.
But I completely get why they did it, why they made themselves worse. I
I
don't
understand why someone can get that mad, but I don't think that makes them any better.
Don't you say anything about Genevieve. She was trying her best.
Nothing they
I
said to
respect
Genevieve.
that she doubled down on the diaper comment. Or I
Fine.
I don't know if I respect it. I was shocked by that. When she was
but
like,
that's-
she did look like she was wearing
how
a diaper.
But I don't get it. And that's fine. If she wants to say that, good for her. But we're also criticizing Shanae for doubling down. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills by one side being like, it's totally fine if someone does it first. And basically it gives us full authority to say whatever the fuck we want. And there's no limit to how nasty we can act towards a person because they acted nasty to us.
Yeah, but you got to retaliate. If you have a kid, and they're in school and they're being punched by a bully every day, what's your advice? Eventually, you go walk away, ignore it, and then as a parent, you go punch them back. Eventually, you do. That's
biggest.
You got to stand up to bullies.
Their biggest gripe is for lying, and she threw a trophy. I mean,
And the ADHD comment.
But lying's a big deal. It's a big deal. She said falsehoods about people that sent people home.
No, I can tell you, Shanae didn't get anyone sent home.
Do you think, though, people were sent home because they lacked time with Clayton because of her drama?
People got sent home because
as a
Time's
result-
everything on this show.
Clayton wasn't interested in them, and they weren't relevant to the story or Clayton's love life. And Shanae, because either she wanted airtime or not, decided to act a certain way, and the women focused on Shanae. They helped create the villain that was Shanae. If they ignored Shanae, Shanae would have been sent home. Also, Clayton as Clayton admitted, he liked Shanae at least some level.
Well,
He was
clearly, put
attracted
up
to
on a
her.
bar.
No, if they ignored Shanae, she wasn't going home. She was there forever if they ignored her. The only reason she went home is because every single one of them went up and said something, and eventually he was worn down. I thought it was a bit much when they got into him for not sending her home earlier, because I'm like, the guy was just figuring things
He has
out.
limited
It's his
information.
choice.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
his journey.
Yeah, he was just figuring things out. We've all been with that person that your friends say, don't go out with that person, but you're a little bit spellbound by him, and then eventually, and then in the light of day, you go, what the fuck was I thinking? And he probably has his, after watching the show, the what the fuck I was thinking moment, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he's going to end up with her, because I predict that he is going to end up with no one.
We're in an eye for an eye society.
There's a little bit more intel. What about, who else was the other one that got up where they all bloody ripped into her? Oh, the girl who
Sarah.
She said she didn't cry. He said he didn't cry. That was too big.
Sarah lied.
Sarah lied.
No.
But he was very defensive about that. I did not cry on any date with her. I just want that to be known.
Sarah, didn't Sarah post something about the truth would come out and that we would all hear the truth? And she definitely did not.
Sarah should work in PR. The way she was
Teddy.
pivoting out of she lied on camera,
Calmly.
actively during the tell-all, and then was still pivoting out of
But
it
she
a
had-
moment later. I was like, work in PR.
She had that bit when you're lying where you're like, I still have a shot here. You know, when you caught up in it, where she goes, did he cry on any of your dates? And she went, yep. And he goes, well, we're going to ask her. He comes out. She goes, okay, great. And she's just hoping that maybe he cried on another date and he got confused and he'd be like, I cried on some dates. I'm not sure if I.
Like some Deus Ex Machina
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Like she was going to go, you did. Remember that time with the thing? Oh, maybe I did. And then she'd get out of it, right?
Maybe she was just like, yeah, to your point, she's just like, don't admit that you lied. Just say that was my version. You know, just the I'm going to speak my truth in my world. You cried, and that's how
there was a world where she could have just doubled down and just go, you did on that date when the thing you cried.
That's right. She could have.
She could have just kept on saying it.
She's like, you're lying.
Teddy and Sarah have each. It's kind of like a she said situation based on media that they've done since they've left the show. Because Teddy said that Sarah was manipulative because she would go into specifically Teddy and Rachel's rooms to talk about her connection with Clayton. And then Sarah released commentary that she was like, well, we were the closest friends in the house. Of course we were talking about the guy we were dating. Why wouldn't I talk about my connection? So it's very like, was it to be friendly or was it to be manipulative?
I honestly don't understand. Like, Sarah lied. That is obvious. I don't totally get that argument of, in that world, it's a fine line. So I can see a world where if Sarah's coming in saying, you know, we have this such great connection, and I guess I get that how that can be intimidating, but I don't see how that's
manipulative. That was the word that Teddy used.
It depends on, you know, it certainly could be manipulative, but could it be also something in that world you don't want to hear it? Some people choose to be vocal about the relationship that they have going on with the lead, and some people don't. Like, if it feels unnecessary, but to me, it's like, it's a bit of a reach to prove that she was manipulative. It's just, maybe they just handled it differently. I see both sides, but I don't know, just because we like Teddy better, and yes, Sarah lied, so she doesn't have that going for her. So now immediately we're like, oh, well, we know you as a liar. We're more inclined to believe Teddy. But that argument that, oh, well, you looked confident and therefore you were manipulating us, I don't quite follow.
I'll tell you who I want to give it up for, Mara. Because I thought Mara was going to, like, if she got some of the girls tell all, women tell all, right, I thought she would be very vocal, and she was composed. She didn't get in any arguments with anything. I thought she was going to go all Jersey on the fucking scene.
Yeah.
And she was good.
I thought she did well.
I thought she did well. Yeah. She didn't seem to bitch too much. She interjected a couple of times, but fairly.
I would love to know what was cut. I want to see like an
footage.
Uncut. I want all 8 hours.
I know that Elizabeth tried to have her moment.
8 hours?
What?
They do 8 hours?
Oh, it's like 8 hours.
Well, because they hire SAG actors to sit in the audience, and they're paid an 8-hour rate.
Because of COVID.
Okay.
Not normally.
Okay.
Since COVID.
I could have done with the bloody work. They didn't invite me. I would have had a Team Shanae poster. There was someone holding one of them up. Team Shanae.
That's the audience right now is currently SAG actors. But yeah, Mara did not take the bait. You know, and I think that's why I'm critical of, because I find it to be, you know, oh, well, if someone did this to you, you would act out. This was, I want to secure my spot on Paradise. I mean, at least Genevieve Genevieve did experience the bullshit of Shanae. So Genevieve has at least some gripe to go on. But like Hunter and some of these other girls who were barely even there, I don't, you know, that was them trying to get their...
Jill was piping up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people, I don't remember their names.
The historian.
Kira.
And they're all told the same thing.
Lindsay.
This is your chance to shine. And they decided to say all those things so they could get on Paradise. It was not about some built-up, pent-up rage from months earlier. It was, let me get back on TV so I can...
That's true, because it was a while ago.
Followers. Yeah.
It was months ago.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, on to fantasy.
There's a lot going on here.
I have a lot of opinions on fantasy. So.
Okay.
That's why we brought you in, Jim.
I have a lot of opinions.
Overall, I think Clayton on Tell-All, he was fine. He took a beating, seemed to answer some questions, and then
well, at the end of Tell-All, there was a telling moment where, what's the name of the girl? Sierra said, how do you treat when we talk? How are you treating the women this way? Basically said, how do you sleep at night to him, right? And then another girl said, I'm just checking, are you okay?
Yeah, Teddy.
Teddy said, are you okay? So now I'm like, the guy ends up with nobody. And after watching this, I don't think the guy ends up with anybody now.
Because Teddy asked if he was okay?
Because Teddy asked if he was okay. And then but I want to know, because what I saw, how do you treat women this way, was he didn't treat the women any differently than any other season of the show. And the women have treated men any different to any other season of the show. And the only difference is it's like telling he's got two that he says I'm in love with and one that he says I'm falling in love with. So she's coming third. Right?
Well, I thought it was 2 I'm falling's in love and 1 I'm in love.
Well, no, because one was I'm falling in love, but then after he shagged her, when he leaves, she went, I love you. And he went, I love you.
I love you too.
I love you too. So
that was really
They
cringe.
obviously said it in the thing.
He screamed for both Rachel and Gabby.
Yeah, and then for Gabby, he went, I'm falling in love, and it feels so good.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Viking Clayton, gotta come out.
He loves to yell.
He loves to yell.
In his Hillary Clinton jacket. I do Arden Mirren's podcast, and she calls it the Hillary Clinton jacket. And it's the same one that Hillary Clinton wore for the debate, the blue long one. It's spot on.
Clayton, we were tough on the casting of Clayton, obviously, and then recently, at least I felt bad for the guy. He was, being crucified for just kind of being who he is, but like ultimately felt like he was just being nice and respectful. But this fantasy suite, I thought was a terrible episode for him.
He's somewhat in the right, but he should have handled it better because it wasn't a good look.
It's terrible. Here, I get
what I'm saying is I get where he's coming from. Because it's just like, fucking it. Because he gets in trouble with, Susie? Is it Susie?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
Susie.
Susie. And he gets in trouble with her. And then what he should have done is when she was leaving and saying, I can't handle this, blah, 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 he should have gone, well, you're breaking my heart, but if you have to leave, you have to leave. Should have just let her leave. Let her leave.
Here's how I saw, because I thought it was a really fascinating, it's happened before, Are you Gabby, more sex positive? Hey, I want you to go out there, and if you need to do whatever you need to do. Gabby was making it very clear about, without saying, hey, if you go fuck everyone, I'll still be here. We're not here to judge that. Susie has a more conservative approach, and fine. That's her.
They very clearly made Susie the third shag.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the term they use in the studio. Right, but they very clearly made her the third shag.
They knew.
Because if she was the first shag, no problem, because then he would have gone off and done his other things, and then she could have stressed out in the house. But they knew that her tension level was at a level where we have to leave her waiting as long as possible, and then she can knock
100%.
They literally put her on a spiral staircase.
Yes.
They literally had the shot
She
of the
was
spiral
spiraling
staircase,
on
and
the
then
spiral.
she's like, I'm spiraling. It was like
No,
they knew exactly what was
Of
coming.
course, they produced the hell out of a great episode. They set it up. Jesse Palmer was coincidentally just there with a coat on.
I was
ready
thinking
to
about
go.
that. I was like, did they wake him up at 1 in the morning?
I just thought that he had like a beeper on him or a phone. I don't know.
pager.
How these things
Pager.
work, right?
He's a doctor.
And then
He was
just
literally
he sits
standing
in a
by.
hotel room nearby, and then you go, we've got an emergency. They're having a fight. Get
Most-
me into the suit. Hair and makeup rushes over.
Most of the time, if the host is not needed, he's out. Might not even be there. He's not even there the whole time.
Right.
Sometimes he has other shows. When Chris Harrison was the host, he was out golfing, doing whatever the fuck. So the fact that Jesse was there means they were like,
They knew.
we're gonna need you tonight. They knew, and he was, and it wasn't like, sometimes you can't keep track of time, right? And we don't have, maybe 3 or 4 hours went by. Maybe it's the next day. I don't know. Sometimes you can't, but not a lot of time went past because Susie had come out, right? So at most, maybe 15, 20, 40 minutes, but Jesse was on standby. And I've quite liked Jesse this season. He seems like, but wow, what a useless moment. All he did was, you told me you were afraid of that. Oh, well, she's back. All right, see you later. He offered absolutely nothing for Clayton.
Here's a question. They've been doing the flash forward since episode 1, the most unbelievable season of The Bachelor. And there's a scene where the guy goes, I have been intimate with all 3 of you. I thought he said all 3.
I think he said, I love all
Both.
3, and I've been intimate with
Both of you.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah, the super tease is highly edited. It's
right.
Here's my biggest criticism with Clayton and the Susie conversation is, again, Susie, that's her point of view, right? And while Susie was frustrated, mad, and angry, she was feeling all these emotions, and she has a right to feel how she feels. Clayton, to your point, I can see why he's frustrated and upset and feels like, well, wait, what do you mean? I thought, but when Susie was frustrated, she spent the whole time expressing frustration while trying to empathize with Clayton. She was expressing her frustration kind of outwardly, not at Clayton, just being like, I don't know, this is how I feel, and I wish I didn't feel this way, and I'm not even mad at you, but I just don't know how I can get engaged to someone. That's a normal, yeah, you had sex with 2 other people days before. I wish I could, and maybe I might try to, but I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
And Clayton, he got mad at Susie.
Yeah.
He didn't empathize with Susie at all. He got mean. He directed his anger at Susie, and Susie directed her frustration kind of just outward. And to me, that's the biggest difference. He was a dick.
I understand his frustration because what did she think was going to happen? Like, you don't really. He's not going to not have sex with the 2 girls and then just have sex. Like, I don't know if that's problematic. That might have happened in previous seasons, but it's
when you get to that level, like, for example, I didn't, right? So
you didn't have sex with anybody, or you just had sex with one?
The last. It was a shitty week. So I went in the fantasy suite with 3 women who throughout the season talked about fantasy suite, can't wait to fantasy suite, and it sucked. It was a terrible time because I had to navigate and not have sex with 2 women who were trying to have sex while getting through a night, hoping they would still think I might pick them.
Right.
Impossible to do. And for me, I just decided before, I know who I'm going to pick. I don't want to get engaged and try to as beautiful as the other 2 women are. Like, I'm just going to avoid this. Yeah, it is. But you avoid the mess, and I had to navigate through it, and I made that choice to not do it.
The girl that you picked, was she on the first night, second night, or third night?
Third night.
See, that's the whole thing. What if you had sex with her and she was dreadful? Because there's people I've been attracted to, and then you've gone to bed with them, and I'm like, maybe they're good with other people, but me and them haven't gelled. You know what I mean?
Sure.
What if you went, oh my God, this isn't for me?
Totally. Again,
and I understand that if you have sex with the other 2, maybe the physical thing, and you'll go, oh wow, we've got something really going on here. And you must know that, holy hell, they must really fuck the shit out of you. Because it's an audition.
Yeah.
It's an audition. No one's laying down.
They're fucking for a ring.
They're fucking for a ring, man. They're going for it.
Yeah, we're not shaming Clayton at all for going for. It's just two different points of view, of which I think there are people on both sides.
Everyone, when they get into sexuality, you have to train the other person up. That goes both ways.
Absolutely.
You have to go, this is what I'm into. I need you to do A, B, and C. And what can I do better? And that's how you become sexually compatible. And sometimes it just happens, but even with great sex, you still got to go, I've got a little kink here, I've got a little kink there, and all that type of stuff,
Yeah, great sex with someone you have the first time can only get better.
Only get better.
Yeah. And so we're just talking about 2 different points of view, and Clayton, I think, looked horrible because of how angry and mad.
My biggest issue was, though, is he kept creating this hypothetical situation to Susie and kept implying that there was only one person that he'd had sex with. So when I first watched it, I was thinking to myself, oh, they've edited it out of order. She must be the second pick. And then finally at the end, he goes, so let's say that I've had sex with both. And I was like, he should have just been honest from the get-go.
She asked him about if you hooked up, and do we call that lying?
That is lying.
Yeah, he implied it was just one the whole time.
He gave a half truth.
He didn't want to he
didn't want to say 2.
I think he didn't know how much it was appropriate to disclose at that time, which was him trying to cover his own ass.
I would do this. A gentleman never kisses and tells. I would have kept calling myself a gentleman.
When Susie asked him, he gave a look, and you could tell he was mad. And in my opinion, he was like, "Fuck you, producers."
Like he felt ambushed.
Yeah. And also he was. Think about it. Susie was last. She got gassed up the whole time. all these questions about like her point of view on sex and how she would feel. Like, what if Clayton has sex? So she spent that whole. It's like, so you have a day off in between, right? So she spent 4 days being asked, "What are you going to do if Clayton has sex with someone else? How does it feel?" Right? And Clayton's like, "I'm in love with you," and Susie's like, "Cool. So, did you fuck anyone else?" You know?
He even said, "I'm the most in love with you."
Yeah, and
Susie.
let's not pretend that on previous seasons, while I may not have had sex with multiple people, plenty of people have, and again, it's totally fine. In fact, I would argue most seasons the lead has sex with at least 2 people.
I think majority are 2.
Yeah,
I did some
and
thinking.
I think it's mostly 2, right? And those conversations, like, and Susie's also not the first person. And I think every season you have at least one contestant who's like, once you get to the end, like what you signed up for, all these things, and then you find yourself in the final 3, and then you're like, holy shit, like I'm supposed to get engaged like in a week and a half, and then you literally go through a week when you're watching people go on these fantasy suite dates, and you start wondering, could I get past this if someone else sleeps with someone else? And some people like Susie are like, I don't think I can get past this, and those conversations usually happen in the fantasy suite. It's not a coincidence that it happened on camera this time around. Right? So, like, Clayton's just like...
Oh, so you're saying there's lots of fantasy suites where you just fight all night?
Oh, you talk at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Or they might be like, some girl or some guy may be like, especially if they're the last, you're last. You might not... Yeah,
I'd watch Jeopardy. I'd just turn the telly on.
And then there might be a lot of people who are like, hey, did you sleep with anyone else? Yeah, I'm good then. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of fantasy suites ended up with like best intentions to hook up and maybe ended in a fight.
How should have he handled the situation when she asked him then? Because what I think he should have done is just gone, look, I really like you. For me on this journey, I needed to explore the other people. I'm confused. I am in love with you, but for me personally, this is what I had to do, and I'm sorry if that hurt you.
Some version of that.
That would have been the best way to do it, and then and he should have just let her go gracefully. And if he's truly in love with her, he should have just gone, let her leave, and then said to the other girls, I can't get engaged here. I'm in love with Susie, and then try in the outside world.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still...
I think any girl who saw that, if you went, I just told the other girls to go home, might not get engaged here, but give you a shot.
That's a great point. I mean, if Clayton tries now to pivot and go after, and by go after, I mean like pursue Rachel and Gabby, they're going to watch it back and feel like a second option.
He said, I'm the most in love with you. They're always, because that's pretty clearly saying you're the one that you're going to win. You're the winner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And usually the person who goes last in the fantasy suites is at least in the lead at that point, or the winner. They're always kind of saved for last for the most part. But I thought going back to how Clayton could have handled it, when it first came, when they were sitting down, I was like watching and I thought it was okay. It was both back and forth of them trying to find the words, both being frustrated and not coming at each other. But like after he went outside and talked to Jesse, like something switched.
Talked.
Yeah, talked.
Hey,
he's like, hey, bye. Yeah. You told me. Well,
got some great advice.
Yeah.
I know you were afraid of this.
Yeah.
Here she is.
Here she is.
I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
I want that job, man.
Yeah.
That's got to be the best job in TV.
It is. Yeah.
Ladies, you have one more rose. Say your goodbyes.
Yeah.
Fucking, what's going on? Oh.
Yeah, I think
they proved in the People Tell All that what's his name? Jake, is it? What's his name?
Jesse.
Jesse was a bumbling idiot on his season, could hardly talk, and now
that was awesome.
Yeah, and now he's all TV savvy. What he should have done is when he came back, I just want to like that. If he wanted to get a real big laugh when they came back, cutting to the ad break, he should have just done that. Just gone.
Yeah.
After ads, he would have got a big laugh. But who am I to teach comedy?
So yeah, I don't know. I wish Clayton flipped a switch on that time back.
He was just done. I feel like then he was like, "Here's your car."
He was a dick. Yeah, if he could have been.
He went
like,
from saying, "Let's spend these 7 hours talking this through," to saying, "Okay, great, you don't want to be here." Bye.
Yeah, I'm wondering what all of a sudden changed, because if that's who Clayton is, then he is an asshole. Because like you can be mad, and you can handle your feelings as a dick, or you can handle your feelings. He could have been like, Susie, listen, it seems like we're both like not on the same page. I feel a little ambushed, I guess, but I understand.
You've never had arguments where in the moment you're like, fine, just leave. And then the next day you're like, we should talk this out.
But normal people can come back. She goes in that car. You're never going to see her again.
Exactly. That's the problem. And in that moment, he probably wanted her to get in that car. And so you wonder how he's feeling now, whether he's like, I'm sure he wishes he handled it
He's
better.
also on TV. I'm not saying he's like the worst person ever, but it was definitely kind of I thought he was unnecessarily a dick, and I get that he was mad, but he still chose to be a dick.
He didn't have enough empathy for her and what she was going through, even if he believed he was in the right, which I mostly think he is in the right because that's sort of what the show is.
Sure. I mean, I think it's just he has the right, from my opinion, he has the right to feel how he does, and Susie has the right to feel how she does, and I think...
How did the girls never say anything to her? Are they told not to say what happens in the fantasy suite, or do they think that hurts their chances of winning?
They just come in and smile.
Yeah, they just go in.
Yeah, with like bedhead.
That was the thing.
I was like, Gabby fully redid her hair, and you're calling her out for having bedhead.
Yeah, you have bedhead.
Yeah,
from all the fucking.
Clayton said, like, why are you telling me this now? When was Susie going to say something?
There has been girls that have said before the fantasy suites, they've gone, if you sleep with anybody else is not something I'm comfortable. Who was that girl on Pilot Pete? Maddie, yeah.
Yeah, but it was literally the same date. It was literally, It was literally the dinner date before the fantasy suite. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why on every season, things happen the same week. Right around, right before hometowns, if you're about to get sent home, you tell the bachelor you're falling in love and get sent home because they realize that they don't feel the same way. And then the person who's falling in love, who's about to get sent home on hometowns, coincidentally says he or she's falling in love, right? And if there's someone who is openly like not sure if they can continue dating someone who has sex with multiple people, it always comes up during the fantasy suite. Like, you know, like things are saved, you know, like do I want to talk about it? Yeah, maybe save it. And also, like, when is Susie going to talk about it? Like, she's focused. Everything happens so fast and is so intense. So while she is introducing this guy to her family and bringing the bachelor into her house, and Susie's like, I think has been a fan of the show, right? Susie watches. I've heard she watches this show. So when Clayton was like, I'm in love with you, she knew how impactful she knew that doesn't usually happen. You could tell that she was caught off guard. But I'm just saying, like, she's bringing the bachelor into her house. She's not going to be like, oh, by the way, let's talk about, there's just no time. You have these, there's a reason why you have such little time. And as soon as you start talking about other things, it's like time to go. It's, gotta go. You just don't have time to sit down and say, you know what, can I just talk? You just don't have time.
And I feel like this is an issue that exists in the real world of the whole debate between like, if you have needs, you need to vocalize them and tell me as your partner versus the other person being like, I want you to just think of this. Don't want you to just do stuff because I'm asking. I want you to be thoughtful and identify what's going on. Like, that's such a rich, real world debate. Yeah. So you add in all the bachelor factors and like, yeah, of course it's a shit show. And Susie was acknowledging that it was a shit show, and Clayton was like assigning all of the blame to Susie.
Yeah.
So one of the problems is with Clayton, if that's how he fights on camera, he might be. He might be a very aggressive guy off camera.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I'm not saying he is because we don't know. We don't know, but like,
when you match someone's energy, your energy, good or bad, doesn't look as bad. Like for back to the sellout, there are going to be a lot of people who disagree with me because everyone's just like, well, Shanae did that, so they did it, so they match each other's energy. But with Susie, she again was feeling all these you tell she was mad and sad and angry, but still like empathizing with Clayton. And the fact that Clayton couldn't match that energy and decided to be a dick made it look extra worse. Because like Susie was giving Clayton the playbook of how to respond to me, just like say the same thing. Hey, I'm frustrated that you feel this way, but I feel this way, and I wish we could get on the same page, and I wish you didn't feel this way. I know you do. What are we going to do about it type of stuff? And he was just like, he's flipped a switch, and And yeah, listen, we've had these conversations. When a giant man flips a switch, it just presents as more scary and problematic than the other way around. And Clayton was clearly, at least at best, unaware of how it's going to look. And to your point, like we all hope it's not like
Worse.
what are you going to do when you don't have 16 cameras on you, and you aren't like, and I'm sure the producers weren't like, hey, well, don't be angry, like, and I don't know. He definitely chose to act that way.
He should have just gone off to the fantasy suite by himself and had a wank. He would have felt a lot better.
Yeah.
Taken that key and locked the door. Come out a lot more cheery. Before
the fantasy suite, before the Susie fight, I was like watching it, and because like once you get to this point, there's this. It happens every season. There's a part of the audience that is like, this is The Bachelor. This is what we signed up for. We all know there's a fantasy suite. This is how it works. And then there's people who watch it who know the rules, but they start seeing it more through like their own personal experience of like dating in the world today, right? And like, I've had a guy do shit like that, or that I recognize that behavior, right? And so during Fantasy Suite Week, before even when he got angry at Susie, when Clayton, there's like a reason why The Bachelor historically doesn't say the way he was doing it, like, I'm falling in love with you, I love you. It just came across as like in real world terms, it came across like a fuckboy. If you're watching it, it just looked like, and you have an experience of like watching a guy going like, he's on a dap, right? And you're like, yeah, I dated a guy like that. He told every girl he was in love with them and falling in love. And
the first girl, if he didn't say he was in love with her, she wasn't fucking him.
Yeah, and it kind of comes across as he's like saying what he needs to say. And even though he's the Bachelor, and technically being the Bachelor, some people would say, hey, he's just like, this is how the show's set up. And Clayton's kind of operating under this like, well, I guess this is what I get to do. But it definitely comes across as fuckboy behavior because he's in this position of power. He gets to go to everyone. They're all pining for him. And I believe that he believes it. I believe that he thinks he's falling in love with multiple people.
That's what I was going to say, where I feel like he's a real people pleaser. Like I think we saw that throughout the entire season, that he really tries to be present, make people feel comfortable. And I think this is when you saw the repercussions for that.
So he fucks
like,
everyone.
If he wants to please people, every single one of those people left now wants to be in love.
In my
and
20s,
like, get
I tried to
engaged.
please everyone. Yeah.
Totally.
I was a real people pleaser. Let a lot of people down, but I tried to please them.
Yeah, it's an impossible. That's the thing. Like Clayton, when I got to that point, I was thinking about how's this going to end. Like I got to start making real world and real life decisions. And Clayton was just like, Clayton kind of took the Pilot Pete approach. Hey, I'm in this world. And as long as I'm in the Bachelor world, I'm going to act like the Bachelor. And I'm going, and real world rules don't apply to me. I personally think that's a bit short-sighted, but that's how he operated, and it clearly is backfiring on him.
Are we slut-shaming him?
No.
Like, if a female contestant did this, would we feel as...
I have no problem with having sex with multiple people.
It's the I love you and the sex, right?
No, even the I love yous, I'm just saying, I don't even have a problem with it. I just think that there's going to be a large group of people watching this show that even before he got mad at Susie, they're just going to see a fuckboy because it's just how it comes across. Not that he is. I know that's what I'm saying.
I feel like he's a fuckboy by negligence.
But
I feel like he's a fuckboy, and he hasn't been a fuckboy previously in his life, and this is the first time he's had the opportunity. So he's
there's a little bit of that too. A lot, yeah.
And it's intoxicating having. I can sleep with 3 women. They're all really into me, and I'm into them as well, of course.
And there's also an element of pressure. The only one who has this pressure of getting engaged is Clayton, and he's probably thinking like, this is my last. If I want this to work, and I want to get engaged, and this is going to be the last person I'm ever with, and I have to decide who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. In 8 weeks, I'm going to use all the time I have to make sure I have the right decision. I mean, I have no problem with him going about it that way.
So you didn't end up with the girl you picked.
No.
Right? In hindsight, do you wish you fucked the other two girls?
No.
Just asking.
No.
Okay.
No.
There you have it.
Yeah, because you didn't end up with her anyway, so.
I would have made the time with my then fiance that much more miserable trying to get through that. It because even though the way Susie talked, everyone believes that they're the one. And when you go into that world and you start getting this validation, you're thinking there's no way they can feel this way. And you want to get engaged, and everyone thinking if they're going to get engaged is going to be, they all go in thinking the same thing. This is crazy. This will be fun. I get to travel, maybe get some Instagram followers. And then a couple people at the end make a connection with the lead. Yeah. And they start thinking, holy shit, I think I like this person. And then like one or two people are like, oh my God, like I'm in love. Yeah. And they think there's just no way they could be feeling this about someone else. So they're not going to do this shit.
See, I think more heinous than all the sleeping, all that type of stuff is the two balconies. I love you. I'm falling in love, and it feels so great because both of those girls believe, that they're winning.
100%.
They believe that they're getting engaged because they just had a night where he just laid on a pillow next to him, just going, "I love you," and they went, "I love you, I love you, I fucking love you, I love you," and they just said it over and over to each other for 8 hours, right? In between shagging and eating strawberries, right? And then like that what screws more than the sex. That's what screws with your mind. I think.
I completely agree. Do you think so? Again, it's not a coincidence that Clayton was saying these things. We all have been talking about like Clayton has been incredibly agreeable with people making the show. Seen people have referred to him as a puppet. How much criticism do we give Clayton? Like, should Clayton be mature and aware enough that even whoever is saying this to him, hey man, if you're falling in love, man, just say it, man. Like you're the Bachelor. Does that give him permission to say it, or should he know better that he is messing with these people's hearts and these women that you say that if I say this, like his argument to Susie was kind of like the way he talked to Susie. He basically was describing him blacking out while having dates with Rachel and Gabby, and then got back to his hotel room and like came to and realized, what have I done? I'm gonna hurt somebody. And I don't buy that.
No, I don't buy that
at all. He's unless Clayton wants us to think he's like a total idiot, and he might not be like the sharpest tool in the drawer. I don't know his intelligence level, but if that's true, he has to be kind of really dense.
I thought it was so funny when he was like, no one forced me to have sex. He was like, I did it because I was in love.
Yeah, he definitely has a very barbaric, aggressive side. He likes to yell, loves to yell.
He's a big Viking guy.
He's big,
huge
yeller.
Viking guy.
But yeah, I just think even if the producers were like, hey man, if you're feeling it, say it. I think it was reckless or stupid. I don't know which one you want to go with. It was one of the two. It's either completely reckless or idiotic to think that he could validate all three women with both his words and his actions and not be criticized for being reckless with people's feelings.
How do you think it ends?
I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Susie at all.
Do you think we're going to see Susie talking to the other girls?
I don't know. I think I'm allowed. They've asked me and other Bachelor alumni to participate in the After the Final Rose on Monday night because apparently what we're about to see is so shocking. Like the shockness of the season, it wasn't last night apparently. So this is just the first inning, the first quarter.
Threesome. He's gonna ask Rachel. And
I don't know what the fuck he's about to do.
What's gonna happen?
I don't know what the fuck he's about to do, but it's not gonna be, is my understanding, as simple as him going to Gabby and Rachel at the rose ceremony. Like we've seen that before. Like when one of the three people from Fantasy Suites goes home, the lead walks out and says, so and so is no longer with us for whatever reason, but I still see love in front of me, and my wife is still here, and will you both accept these roses? And then I don't think it's going to be that clean at all. I'd be shocked if it's the last we see of Susie, because Susie seems like his favorite. And to your point, Jim, Clayton reacted like a dick. And most people, even if you in the real world, you might fight me the next day. You're like, I'm sorry, babe, or whatever, or I'm sorry, honey, and you're still a dick, but you have to apologize for that. But a lot of people will calm down and realize that they've got angry.
So you think there's a Pilot Pete Matty situation where he just says to the two girls, and then they show footage of him flying out to see her or going to see her father?
I don't know if I think it's all going to happen. So when someone gets sent home, they just go back to their hotel room.
Oh.
So the final four basically don't go home until the season's done airing, for purposes of avoiding spoilers.
Right.
And the final three, when they're all in Iceland, all definitely stay in Iceland till it's done, for spoiler purposes. So
then after they get engaged, they all fly on the same plane together. That must be awkward.
No, they don't. No, they actually all take different flights to wherever they go. They're all in different flights.
Right.
To avoid, again, spoilers and things like that. And so whatever happens, Susie's going to be sitting in a hotel room. So if either of them are want another chance or want to talk after emotions calm down, they will definitely be given that opportunity. So I suspect there will be some version of that. And what happens after that, I think, is going to be part of this mess. And if you're Gabby and Rachel and you're watching this, you're just like,
Gabby's got no chance.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't.
I don't see it at all.
Delightful person.
Not delightful,
not
but
Clayton's wife in any world.
I don't see the connection at all.
I like Gabby. I think she's.
I think she's great.
Great
Yeah.
girl. She's got a lovely personality. She should be a TV host. I think she's funny, and you know what I mean. But I don't
see it between the two.
Don't see it between the two of them, and. It's like when she had to sit down, she just goes, I just want you to know that I have feelings and blah blah blah. And then he's like, it's so great, that you don't have to be goofy all the time. Stop calling the girl goofy. She's trying to have a chat with you. You can be serious. And she probably goes up to go to the bathroom, slips on a banana peel and fucking you know what I mean? But she's only the I'm falling in love with. So Rachel's gonna win if someone's gonna win and everything. But I think he goes home with nobody. I think he goes back. He tries to get Susie, and she tells him to fuck off, and the other girls don't want to be second banana, and then that's the end.
It's just crazy because I thought Rachel was wifey for the whole season. I've just been watching it being Rachel obviously wins. And then the date that he took her on, with the volcano situation, that was one of the coolest dates we've ever seen. I feel like that's the kind of date that you take someone. I think it was between Susie and Rachel, but I still thought Rachel was going to come out ahead, which is why I was so surprised.
Susie getting the last date with her having her point of view on sex, it was just as much of that than her being the front runner. But she also could have been both. But historically, the front runner gets the last date. But it's hard to say. But yeah, ever since Susie's been playing catch up though, and has caught up to Rachel the whole time. But I don't see, if you're Rachel or, Gabby, we don't think he's going to pick Gabby anyways, but it would be a tough pill to swallow.
Especially after he said, I love you the most to Susie in their fight.
Yeah. Because,
what? Most.
It's a weird thing to say.
Mm.
Yeah.
I say that to my children. I make them fight against each other.
Colton.
I love you, but I love this one the most.
Colton there's Colton vibes in this moment, not because of sex, but Cassie just left. And to Colton's credit, he was like, this is my person and I'm going to chase you down, and, kind of weirdly forced her to pick him. But nevertheless, he at least didn't try to pivot and convince himself or anyone else that he was willing to take, seconds. It was like the Bachelor's not allowed to really express themselves until the end, but Clayton was caught off guard. You saw, and that's the thing. And that's why we get critical of his anger, because in that moment, he was off script. Not that there's a script, I'm not saying the show's scripted, but there's definitely beats, and he gets prepared for conversations and topics that he thinks he's going to have. And he was definitely caught off guard by Susie's reaction and her questions. And then Susie saying she wants to leave. And we saw the real honest, like, fuck this. This is who I was going to pick. And now she's leaving or doesn't want to like get engaged to me. And we saw that real reaction. So the anger seemed to be very authentic. And him saying, but I love you the most was not something he probably should have said, but he was just panicking and expressing himself. And we got a very honest sentence from Clayton, which is that Susie was the person he was planning on picking.
He can't end up with the other two girls because the other two girls won't have any dignity if they stay. After seeing him do that, they just can't. Even if like that girl, I love you, and then he's like, I love you the most. Oh no, you can't. He ends up with no one.
Can you? And I as someone who's been the Bachelor, I still don't see how people can fall in love with 3 people, let alone 2. In like matter of days, I don't get how he can say that to Gabby outside of a car, as cringy as it was, but like act like he's really like, I really want to say this. It's so distant. I don't see it. I don't know how people can, but I know other people disagree, but I find it kind of, I feel like he's caught up being the Bachelor and taking advantage of being the Bachelor, and he's almost like he's convinced himself this is how he really feels because he's caught up in this world. But I don't totally buy it. I'm really disappointed in Clayton.
If I ever see him on a balcony, though, I am gonna go, I'm falling in love.
And it feels so good.
It feels so good.
So good.
He's gonna get that a lot, I think. Who would we rather see be the Bachelorette, Gabby or Susie?
Susie.
Gabby.
It's 2 very different choices. You have Gabby, the more of a
Fun.
2022 fun, sex positive, like, and then Susie, more of the traditional conservative, like, family values. I like both. I won't be disappointed with either.
And why is Rachel not in the running?
Because I think Gabby and Susie just have better storylines. It's nothing against Rachel. It has more to do with the other 2.
Yeah, because I feel like she was always so framed within Clayton. Like the fact that they had such a strong connection, we didn't really get like Rachel's personal narrative as it existed without Clayton throughout the season. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think, Gabby has that kind of Caitlin Bristow comp.
Yes.
And
So
Susie.
you know what's good about Gabby? The family's good. The family's
Both
good.
families
Grandpa.
seem
The grandpa alone.
You will the grandfather back out, and he's like that. And the dad who came, and the signs, all that type of stuff. They're gonna be a good family to put on telly.
I'll tell you what, though, this was a big moment for Susie, though.
Mm-hmm.
This was like Bachelorette kind of catapult
Yeah.
That's
moment.
Susie's dad's gonna kill Clayton. Was he the one that touched him in the shoulder?
No, that was Rachel's dad.
Rachel's dad's gonna kill Clayton.
Gonna kill Clayton.
Because he seemed like he might like at least know some guys in the mob.
Oh, 100%.
There
Like,
should be like a dad's tell-all episode.
Yeah, because Rachel's mum was loving being on telly. She was like, "Oh, and you're in love with this thing? Oh, this is so exciting!" Oh, like that. The dad's like, "Fucking thing on fucking TV."
It's usually.
And then he was like this. I'll touch you on the arm.
Yeah. I really loved Rachel's dad. I thought he was great. All right, so who would you rather have as Bachelorette?
Obviously, Gabby.
Obviously, you want Susie.
I
I'd be
so
fine
much
with
respect
either.
for Susie. I think Susie's fantastic.
I won't be disappointed with Susie, but I want
but
Gabby.
it's just been a little while since we've had someone like quirky, boppy, like alien, weird.
But Katie was allegedly quirky and boppy, and then
And
she didn't play out that way.
Yeah.
But that's how she was sold to us. That
I don't think she was that. Yeah.
I think I'm more Susie because Susie comes across as this like quiet, demure person, but every time she's put in a moment, she kind of, you had the hometown's new jitsu, karate, whatever, jiu-jitsu. And then like whether you agree or disagree with her point of view on sex, she handled herself awesome, stood up for herself.
Impressive.
She had some, fight to her. And I think there's more to Susie, and I think you want a Bachelorette that can kind of keep showing you more layers. And and maybe we could see that with Gabby too, but I feel like with Gabby, we're going to have a fun, quirky thing, and maybe there'll be more. and I think she'll be great. But I wonder if there's she's continued to show us more, and she has to be curious about learning more.
I feel like Susie's like the teacher, and if Gabby were the Bachelorette, it'd be like the sub. You know, like you don't know what's gonna happen. Is she gonna be able to control the class? Is she not? Like we have no. Like she's an absolute wild card. I agree that Susie is like confidently capable.
But I think Gabby could be a great Bachelorette too, because she'll be fun. She'll be willing to get a little messy. There'll be some drama. I think it'll be fun either way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been a wonderful season this season, though.
I've really enjoyed it.
It's been a big comeback year.
Jim? Always a pleasure.
Come and see me perform somewhere. Check out.
Yeah, where are your shows?
Don't know. Go to jimjefferies.com.
Jimjefferies.com.
Go to me podcast. I don't know about that. That's
thank you for coming back on. The people love you on this show.
Oh, I'm in Vegas this weekend.
There you go.
There you go.
Vegas.
I'm going to Vegas this weekend.
There you go. If you want to come, but I'm performing at the Mirage in Vegas on Friday and Saturday, and Salt Lake City on Sunday. There you go. That's where I'm going to be this week.
It's a great show. Your 69-bit. That still has me crying.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
It's hysterical. So check out JimJefferies.com. Check out all his shows. Jim, we hope you come back. The people love you on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Don't forget to listen tomorrow for our guest Ashley Green and Mediation with Nick and Danielle from Love is Blind 2. You won't want to miss that. So see you tomorrow.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos, like our Mondays Ask Nick, especially if you're looking for some relationship stories and relationship advice, as well as our Wednesday interviews with your favorite celebrities and experts. See you next time.